So, good morning or good night, depending on where you are in the world. And welcome to another interview with the Shield Dude on a Couch. And we have a big one today for you, Couchers, because I have the lead singer from the band, Allegeaon, Ezra. So, Ezra, how are you today?
I'm fantastic, dude. Thank you so much for having me. First and foremost, man, I love the whole chill guy on a couch situation. What is the story behind that?
So, well, right now I'm not on, go figure, I'm not on a couch right now. So the thing is, when I started the channel, I didn't know what to name it. And there was another YouTuber that I did videos like on a couch, and he told me, "Look, you look like very chill on a couch." I'm like, well, that could be. And I did the chill dude on a couch reviews because sometimes I talk different genres, not only metal. So most
Sure.
of my videos, I'm on a couch, but I have the logo. Right next to me. But yeah, that's basically the story.
Dude, I love that. It kind of wrote itself for you.
Yes, it kind of wrote itself for me. So Allegiant, you're a band that I've been listening to a long time, and I know that you were the original singer. Then you left in 2015, but you came back. I think this is gonna be your first album back, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it will be the first full length. We did a couple singles coming back from Europe just to kind of get some stuff out there and familiarize everybody with the fact that I'm rejoining. But we got that out of our system and kind of went into writing mode. Did a nice little writing retreat and then slid into the studio, and we were able to make the Ossuary lens, which will be my first full length since being back.
Yeah, well, the album, I already listened to the album, so the album sounds great.
Good.
Uh, but the single that you chose, Driftwood, is a great song, and I want to talk about that awesome music video. Uh,
Okay.
so yeah, the music video for people who haven't seen it. So it's there's this woman in the woods, and you got this someone with a mask that abducts her. So there's like a whole story and a twist at the end. I thought the song was awesome and the music video. So tell me who got the idea for the music video?
It was tossing around the idea just in a group chat that the boys and I have on Facebook, and it kind of melded into it naturally. Um, if memory serves me right, I think I came up with something that was like very, very similar to it. And then and I mentioned it to a guy. I work in the cannabis industry in Colorado. And
Okay.
I was talking to a dude about it, and he's like, it'd be sick. And then obviously like the ending, how that's kind of a twist there, without giving away too much. But it it came very naturally, man. It was just like a few discussions, and really I felt like a lot of the pieces were put together when we were there kind of recording just on the spot. That's kind of the methodology behind Allegion a lot of times, is kind of wing it.
That's sometimes in life you gotta wing it.
Yeah. I mean, if we made sure that we had the solid points to it, the female kind of going through what she's going through, a couple of the plot points that really made this story, and then fill out the rest in between to make sure that it stays cohesive and touches, base back on the original idea and stuff. So I think that's kind of the easy, or like the way that we've gone about a lot of things, is what are the major plot points, and then how can we make sure that they all tie together.
Okay. And so you were some years away from the band. How was the process of coming back to the band?
Man, it was interesting. It was I don't know how much you know about it, but it dealt a lot with sobriety, dude. So it was like a lot of it was self-growth and like learning myself. So I was gone, for those who don't know. I left in 2015. I was gone for about 7 years. And then I got a random call from Greg, asking for me to do a fill-in gig on a European tour, the Faces of Death tour. And like, I looked at that like, oh, are you kidding me? This is like the best opportunity I could possibly have. This is like what I'm made for. So I went, to my cannabis situation, and was like, hey, I got this European thing, this opportunity. And it was magic, man. We flew into Germany. We played, X amount of shows. 11 days in Berlin, they asked me to join permanently. And it was so cool in the sense that when I departed, you know, we were still kind of, for lack of a better term, eating shit in a van. Like we were driving around for gas money and free pizzas. And she can come over here. And there wasn't a whole lot of stuff coming back to us, and you know, it was still in those infant stages. And then by the time that I slid back into the role in Europe, I mean, it was a different beast, man. We flew in. The first thing you do is, you know, go to the hotel, then hop onto your tour bus, which I wasn't used to. And then every single show was sold out. It was insane. And it was like this crazy European vibe, which I'm not used to in the first place. And so the passion there, it just like, there was just this unique difference from when I was in the group prior. And then the fact that I am like getting the second opportunity, right, with new eyes, you know, that clarity, knowing a lot more about myself and the personal growth that happened there, and mostly just being sober and being able to retain the information, to soak it in and actually apply my own passions. It made it an incredibly unique experience. And I don't know, man, I got to be honest, every day I wake up, I think of the same things, man. What's my girlfriend up to? And I'm living in a dream, you know, like it's crazy. Every day is like, in a sense, a blessing.
So yeah, so it sounds like in this second time, like obviously you get to enjoy it more.
100%, man. I get to see it from the other side of the bar. And it's cool, man. It really is cool, because like something that I noticed, like in my prior situation with the Legion, that I would be doing all this and meeting all these new people, and you know, I'd come back that following year or maybe later that year, and I wasn't able to retain a lot of that information. And a lot of I guess the drinking at the time was just numbing everything, so I wasn't able to really soak in my environments and such. And now that I'm on it, you know, with this new perspective, dude, it's incredible, man. I'm retaining these the names, the faces, the relationships. I'm able to apply like natural happiness and passion towards it. It's just it's a moment where I'm just like really, really grateful for the situation and the events that took place the way they did, because at the end of the day, I think everybody, including myself, won.
And how has been the reception of the Allegeaon fans to you coming back?
I mean, I see what I see, you know, like I don't see a lot of the conversations that are happening outside of the realm. I don't really think a whole lot of people will say that stuff to my face, in a sense, just because it's awkward for conversation. But what I've seen has been remarkable, and it makes me feel very cared about, which was something that I thought was very interesting, dude, because like leaving in 2015, being MIA for 7 years, man, like that's enough time for me to kind of get out of the metal thing. I didn't pay any attention to it. I had my own thing going on. And I kind of, the idea of like what people thought of me, or that even people thought of me at all, was like fading and faded. And like, you know, I kind of just accepted it as a time in my life rather than something that would happen again. And so jumping back, you know, on the saddle, the response has been overwhelming, dude. I'll tell you a story, and it's only because it's like one of the best days of my life. And it was on that European tour, you know, I became an official member again in Berlin, which was 11 days in. And we were all really hyped about this show in London because it was oversold. It was the biggest market on the whole tour. So basically everybody was like playing all these shows to kind of prime themselves for that London show. That was like the end all be all, right? And it was an incredibly like romantic night. I got to London. It's lightly raining. It's dark. I wasn't feeling that great. You know, I just got sick from tour or whatever. And I was just like, I'm going to go walk by myself. I went and had pho for the first time in my life. It cleaned me up. It was so incredible just to kind of do that by myself. And I go back to London to like, you know, do the set. And it still blows my mind when I think about it, man. But like when I got on stage just to make sure my mic was on, that's all I did. Everybody's kind of dinking around with their instruments, making sure, you know, that we have signal. And what was fucking wild to me, man, is this show, the anticipated show, they were all chanting my name rather than Allegeaon or anything else, dude. It was just Ezra, Ezra. And it was so weird. It was so weird, man. And at that point, it was like, okay, we're back on. Like, time to clock in, time to really get in there, because it was just like I guess a pivotal moment for me to realize that, like, oh shit, like people do know who I am. And that was always something kind of harder for me to think about before, but now I'm like much more accepting of it. And so yeah, the response from my perspective is phenomenal, dude.
Yeah, if they're shouting your name, yeah, that's a good sign. So the record, I listened to it, and it's a pretty brutal record from finish to end. But Allegiant has those clean guitars that sounds like Spanish guitars in some of the parts, which I like, because you can only be as brutal as you want. But I want to show the album artwork, which is pretty cool, and we talk about the artwork for the upcoming album. So here we have it. So yeah, this, first of all, it's a great album. This is gonna be the Ossuary lens. It's gonna I think it's out I think it's April, sometime in April. I forget the name, but tell me a little bit about what the band wanted to convey with this artwork.
So it was kind of a loose idea at the beginning. So like every song on this album, whether it's science or interpersonal, whatever topic we're slaying at the time, there's in some way a relation to death or a viewpoint of death. And so that's where like the ossuary situation comes from. Now, this kind of vibe, we got Seth Anton from Septic Flesh. We toured with Septic Flesh and Decapitated last year, and we caught wind that he did Septic Flesh's stuff, and his artwork is so phenomenal. And so I sent a reference idea to him, and he was able to capture it. However, like, it was kind of funny how this panned out, because in the same breath, in that same email, he sent over this, and he's like, also, I have this that's been kind of just laying around if you guys are interested. And we were like, Seth, bro, we want that instead. So we took this.
What the hell?
Yeah, it was just so like out of the blue. But I think what we were kind of leaning on a little bit is, on the album, there's a song called Chaos Theory. And so maintaining some of that kind of look of an ossuary, like if you go to a cemetery or anything, you commonly, especially in Europe, you see a lot of like these kind of statues. They're not really Roman, but they're like just beautiful figures. And so we wanted to capture that kind of vibe. And then the water is great because it's just chaos in itself. And then, of course, a little blood spatter just because it's brutal and heavy. So, but yeah, man, this thing came out great. I really like the negative space. I think that Seth really nailed it.
I think so too. I think he got it out of the park with this one. It's pretty cool. And yeah, I know Europe and cemeteries. I remember that cemetery in Paris that's really famous because Jim Morrison is buried there. But if you go there, there's some very interesting statues. You have Chopin, and you have like a guy who did like the railing ticket. So it's almost like a museum, but it's a cemetery.
Yeah, it's everywhere too. I think the most notable one, I didn't go to too many last time I was in Europe, but I went to one in Copenhagen, and it was gorgeous. Like, it was very well thought out and just very beautiful to go through. Also the quietest place I've ever been to. But
I would say guess so. So what was for you getting back into the writing mode? Like what themes did you have, like things that you wanted to tackle on this record theme wise?
Yeah, so that's a good one, man. So in my absence from Allegeaon, the former vocalist Riley, he did this really thing, and I'll always give him kudos for this, is he introduced like an interpersonal aspect to Allegeaon rather than just being 100% science driven. And that's really nice to me because that's how I connect with music. And I think that it was really truly a matter of timing, because on this album, the Ossuary Lens, we still do touch on the scientific topics. There's dark matter dynamics, there's chaos theory, and so on. But it was cool that that door was open for the interpersonal thing. And with my experience, you know, the 7 years that I was gone from the group, I went through a lot, man. Like it was, you know, sobriety and just like a lot of healing and a lot of figuring my stuff out. And so for that to be a vessel or a vehicle for me to get that out there and get that, you know, whatever I wanted to work through at the time, it worked out perfectly. So I was able to do that. The music connected, like the music, like Driftwood has that sound. Like even the chorus that I'm singing in that song, that originally was a guitar lead. And so like just everything seemed to really work together. So going into writing for the Ossuary Lens, I really didn't want to let down any old school Allegeaon fans. So that's why there's still like tons of like science stuff. But I also really wanted to be true to myself. I wanted to do the artistic thing where I am kind of approaching it more poetically and more interpersonally with some of the songs. That way I can be whole in myself. Like I have to be connected to the music for it to actually be music to me and for me to be passionate about it. And there's no thing worth doing unless you're passionate about it, I would say. So it was a lot of just, okay, balancing. How can I get, you know, some of the shit out that I want to say, that I'm feeling? And then also, how can I stay true to the form with the Allegeaon stuff and pretty much come up with a hybrid of what is new and old Allegeaon?
Yeah, no, I think it's a good way to please the fans and also write your more personal stuff and have it be cohesive. And yeah, it's a pretty cool. I think it's 9 tracks or 10 tracks. I can't remember right now out of the top of my head. But yeah, it's a cool album. So yeah, so I think people will be very pleased when they get to listen to it as a whole. I know Driftwood is the only single right now. Is there another song that you're gonna drop as a single before the album is released?
Yeah, we'll drop 2 more. The Swarm will come out, and then so will Wake Circling Above.
Okay, yeah, both awesome tracks. So Ezra, you know, I know you're busy. You have more of these to do, so I don't want to take more of your time. But before I let you go, anything that you like to say to the fans before we go?
Yeah, and thanks for the opportunity, man. You know, I appreciate the warm welcome back. It's been really cool, and we plan on doing a lot of cool things here in the future. I would say catch us out on tour this spring with Warbringer, Skeletal Remains, and Summoning the Lich. And Europe, keep your eyes peeled because we're definitely looking into some fall action, some activity there. And there's a lot of other markets where we're really starting to poke around, like a little bit of Mexico action, or maybe a little bit of Japan, go back to Australia, things like that. But I think I think it would be wise just to keep your eyes peeled, you know, keep an eye on the Instagram, the socials, Twitter, all of the above. And I hope to catch you guys out there on the road.
Nice. And yeah, that sounds like a cool tour. Warbringer and which was the other band?
Skeletal Remains,
Oh,
and Summoning the Lich.
I think that's a very varied tour because every band is different. You have thrash, you have you guys that play like technical death metal. I think Skeletal Remains is like death metal as well. So yeah, pretty interesting bill. So again, Ezra, you know, thank you for taking some time to share with me from Colorado here to Puerto Rico. So Coucher, yeah, the new album for Allegeaon out on April. I'll post the link for people who want to pre-order. So until next time, Couchers, is Hector, the shield dude on a couch, and I'll see you all right here on the couch. Thank you and goodbye.